Crazy video title. We'll let it slide for today. We'll let it slide.
On September 11th, 2001, the United States was attacked.
It was
In the
terrible.
span of an hour, 2 planes hit the World Trade Center, and another hit the Pentagon. The name on everyone's lips was Osama bin Laden, the Al-Qaeda leader. CIA analysts, FBI agents, and military planners all focused their crosshairs on him. Meanwhile, the real mastermind behind 9/11 lurked in the shadows, completely undetected, free to continue fulfilling his dreams of death and destruction. For years before September 11th, the US government had been given numerous opportunities to stop him, but each time they failed to put the pieces of the puzzle together before he slipped away. As a result, this man was able to orchestrate the most devastating attack on American soil since Pearl Harbor, killing almost 3,000 people. How did intelligence agencies let this happen? And how many more thousands of innocent lives would be taken before the identity of the world's most dangerous terrorist was finally uncovered? The research for this video was gathered primarily from the book, The Hunt for KSM, by LA Times journalists Terry McDermott and Josh Mayer, which was written with the help of hundreds of interviews, including FBI agents, CIA officers, jihadists, and family members, as well as official documents like court transcripts, memos, and reports. We also gathered our information from other credible sources, which can all be seen in the description below. By the way, sorry if my voice sounds a little weird today, folks. I'm feeling a bit under the weather. Anyways, the Strategic Information and Operations Center at FBI headquarters, or SIOC for short, was the Bureau's crown jewel. 40,000 square feet of...
I would love to work there, man. Just like helicopter lands in my backyard. They're just like, we need you, my nigga. We need you. You were an asset to Homeland Security, son. My nigga. And I would let it slide, and then they would give me a pay raise, bro. It'd be so lit.
Gleaming white corridors, secure video conference rooms, and command centers designed to handle national emergencies, but nothing could have prepared them for this. Dale Watson, the FBI's assistant director for counter...
2001, I would not work for Homeland Security, but now... Green.
Terrorism was in the command center conducting a briefing when the first plane hit the North Tower of the World Trade Center. By the time of the second impact, targeting the South Tower, any doubt that this was a deliberate act was gone. Every screen in SIOC was tuned to the horror unfolding in New York City. FBI Director Robert Mueller had been on the job for a little over 1 week. As agents scrambled to coordinate with local law enforcement, the CIA, and military command centers worldwide, one thing became crystal clear. The Bureau had somehow been caught entirely off guard. For months before the attacks, intelligence analysts had been tracking...
I just went to school off no sleep, bro. That shit was grueling. I love my teacher. She's so beautiful. My professor. She's a beautiful person. She's so kind. I didn't mean beautiful like that. I'm still off no sleep. Let it go on your block. I'ma do a show. He a pussy, he a op. He gon' call the po. All my niggas, they don't go. They don't fucking go. What do you mean? Acting like some hoe.
References to a mysterious figure known only as Mukhtar, Arabic for the Chosen One. The name had appeared in intercepts about sending sleeper agents to America, raising red flags but offering no clear leads about who exactly Mukhtar was. After the attacks, bin Laden publicly...
Is Mukhtar popular? Like, what's more popular? Okay, Osama definitely fell off, unless they're part of that group. You wouldn't want to name your kid that. You're just setting him up for failure. Mohammed, that's like a name in the Bible, in the Quran. That, what was the other option?
Tracking references to a mysterious figure known only as Mukhtar, Arabic for the Chosen One. The name had appeared in intercepts about sending sleeper agents to America, raising red flags but offering no clear leads about who exactly Mukhtar was. After the attacks, bin Laden publicly praised Mukhtar as the mastermind, which meant he was important. How he was tied to bin Laden and the attacks, what he still had planned, and all of it was a shadow in the fog. Missing key intelligence at the time like this was dangerous, so finding him was critical. In less than a month, the US invaded Afghanistan, with allies like the United Kingdom and Canada by their side.
Beautiful people. We love Canadians. We love
Afghanistan's Northern Alliance, and
we love Afghanistan's Northern Alliance, and we love the UK.
Pashtun leaders in the south. American forces swept across the country with shocking speed. The Taliban government crumbled, and U.S. forces overwhelmed al-Qaeda's training camps. It was a stunning military victory for the U.S. and its allies, but the big fish they were hunting, Osama bin Laden, Ayman al-Zawahiri, and other senior leadership had vanished. On October 10, 2001, President George W. Bush unveiled the FBI's first most wanted terrorist list, a bounty list featuring 22 of the most dangerous terrorists in the world. At the top of the list, unsurprisingly, was Osama bin Laden, wanted with a $25 million reward. But it would take another few months before the first major breakthrough.
Bro.
It was March 2000.
Remember that dude who was trying to go find Osama and get the reward for himself, and he just deserted the fucking group he was with, his DS, his DC, his duty command, I think. He just deserted them. I'm gonna look that up on the other screen real quick. I hope that dude actually killed Osama. Not like that. I hope he's not just taking credit. Just in case. It's just hopes though, government. You don't gotta enact on me.
2002, and CIA officer John Kiriakou, a fluent Arabic speaker with a history of chasing terrorists around the globe, had been itching to get at the people responsible for 9/11, even threatening to resign if not immediately deployed. So when an assignment in Pakistan opened up, he jumped at it. Kiriakou and analyst Deuce Martinez were dispatched to the Pakistani city of Faisalabad, the home base of almost every significant jihadi group in the country. For the following weeks, he and Martinez tracked electronic signals across Punjab province using a piece of CIA hardware called the Magic Box. The device would send out an electronic signal keyed to a particular phone. If that phone were in range, it would send a ping back to the box. They were hunting Abu Zubaydah, a Palestinian known to have close ties to al-Qaeda's inner circle of leadership. The intelligence community was unsure of the role Zubaydah held. Their assessments had changed multiple times over the past decade, but they knew that he was a key figure, and if anyone knew al-Qaeda's secrets, it would be him. Above all, he would know the answer to the most critical question: where and when the next attack was going to be. The NSA had already collected the electronic signature of Zubaydah's phone, giving the CIA
I
something
don't
to search for.
think they
They
would
drove
have
around the
got
cities
that
of
shit.
Lahore and
They would
Faisalabad
not have
with the
touched
magic box
down.
every day, waiting for the ping.
You think Homeland Security play around about our fucking buildings?
But Zubaydah was never in the same place twice. The
Abu
CIA
Zubaydah.
compiled their information, NSA signals, ground intelligence, emails, everything, and narrowed it down to 14 possible locations, 10 in Faisalabad and 4 in Lahore. But they knew that raiding each location one by one would end up being a pointless game of whack-a-mole. They needed to do something more risky and dramatic. Kiriaku's boss, the CIA Islamabad
went-
station chief, had a plan to
I
hit
know
all
about
14
this.
sites simultaneously.
Yes.
36 American agents from both the CIA and
Nigga, just say 36.
the FBI were paired with Pakistani
36
forces,
people.
but the odds were stacked against them, tipping more towards chaos and failure than success.
Actually, that line was cold.
36 American agents from both the CIA and the FBI were paired with Pakistani forces,
That line was
but
cold.
the odds were stacked against them, tipping more towards chaos and failure than success. If Zubaydah escaped, or worse, was killed, they would be right back to square one. On March 28th, recon teams first scouted all 14 sites, looking for any sign of their target and any weakness they could exploit. Most of the sites were mud huts, but one house in an upper-middle-class Faisalabad neighborhood caught their eye. It was an unoccupied lot with a telephone wire that was split, with an illegal line to the peach-colored 3-story house next door. They believed they had their man, but they had to be sure. The next morning, at 2 a.m., the teams launched their 14 attacks. At the suspicious peach-colored house, the Pakistan Rangers had no sense of subtlety, ramming through the outer gate and ground floor doors. Kiriaku and the other
And I only fuck with thick hoes. And I only fuck with red hoes. Let's go. Like ho. Let's go. I just made a nigga. Oh, I did talk though. Double to the left hole. Sorry, double to the left hole. Sorry, double hopping on the jet though. Honey, pumping big hoes. I'm a skinny nigga. You see these tight clothes. Piped up when I'm piped up. Come and get piped for the night, ho. It's on the drugs and I need some guys, ho. I got a Joes, yeah, I need some condoms. Talking with a car that you get by, ho. Moving too slow, are you high, ho? Are you high, ho? Pull up in a drink, that's a feel, I get high, ho. That's so far. I'm on eyes closed. You getting nasty though, and I only fuck with dick hoes. And I only fuck with dick hoes. Like, oh, let's go. Like, oh, let's go. Looking like who next up? Hold your chest up. That nigga got a bedazzled watch. It tick-tocks. I click clock. Nah. Never mind, I can't say that. Allow me, I made a man up. I'm a little bit of a man up. Take away your camera. Who the hell think I give a sample? Never did I weigh a man go. But I your bitch in the band though. Talking in the high though. Bitch into my main hoe. And I only fuck with their shows. And I only fuck with their hoes. Like ho. Let's go. Like ho. Let's go. And I only fuck with their hoes. And I only fuck with thick hoes. Like ho. Let's go. Back off. Let's go. I'm gonna watch this video later. I just don't feel like learning right now. I'm kind of drained. And Cut has a trash ass video for me to watch right now. You know? And everything, ho, money, ho, on a bang, ho, and a burger, ho, and a drink, ho, and a 30, ho, on a drink, ho. I just, that my thing, ho. I bought that paint, though. Sets of paint, though. That is my styrofoam.
We love what we have.
Whatever he's doing. He sucks at that shit, bro.
That's news to me.
But every other
That is not. I'll watch the video. I don't like this channel, bro.
In 2005, the Palm Beach Police Department in Florida
Is this
received
dude
a phone
black?
call from. Now, the video just started, and in 2005, the Palm Beach
Wait, I
Police
watched
Department in
something like
Florida
this on stream.
received a phone call from the mother of a 14-year-old girl who claimed that she was sexually assaulted by a man.
Well, it was interesting because when I sent the email, everything I had said about me being an incel and stuff was true, but in the past week, I actually lost my virginity.
Oh, dude, what? Dude, this is awesome. I feel like this is like, you know, on the news when they're like, this just in. Yeah.
About to say that, like, to lump them all in as one group and, like, stereotype them all as the same thing, you know?
Well, yeah, and I mean, that's a great way to look at it. And the experience speaking with people who identified as incels in the past did not share that sentiment. So that's good to hear. But why, like you said,
He's not gonna convince me, bro.
Yeah, boy.
He's in the gang. He's in the. He's part of the team, bro.
What's going on, YouTube? Welcome back to another video on the channel. As you see by the day, or the title, you know what we're getting into today. Sorry if I'm out of breath. Had to knock my 100 push-ups out. But yeah, I appreciate y'all for tuning in today. Yeah, bro. If you're unemployed in 2026, your best option. Here's your top big 3 right here.
No.
Keep applying to jobs and stay humble.
Yeah, that's what I'm doing for sure.
Focus on
Yeah,
yourself.
we all.
Go to the
Yeah.
gym. Go on walks. Start reading books. You know, learn self-love and develop a mindset to where you get it when you get that job. There is no getting fired or any of that. The third option: go to the military, bro. Go to the military, bro. Look.
Is this a recruitment video?
If you smoke ganja, bro, put the ganja down. All you gotta do is put the
Why would I do that to go fight for the country?
ganja down for 4 years, bro. And after that 4 years, you could spark up and smoke up. However, you could buy the whole dispensary out. You know what I'm saying? But it's just staying disciplined to gain that. That's just my breakdown of it for real. Number one, keep applying the jobs, stay consistent. You know what I'm saying? Like, hey, stay consistent, keep applying the jobs, keep that mind frame you got. Like, I'm gonna get a job and I'm gonna make that money and go on a 90-day run.
Fight for the country. It'll
But,
teach you discipline.
Yeah, the second
man.
one is to focus on
It'll teach you discipline.
yourself, bro. Take a break.
No,
away
don't.
from
Grind
just
set mindset.
toxic environments, and you
No.
constantly keep putting
yourself in toxic environments and just like get to that bag, like type shit, bro. Some nigga in my class said type shit.
yourself out there. It's like you're trying to solve a puzzle, right? But you're using pieces from a different box. You know what I'm saying? It's not gonna work. The
Yeah.
only pieces are gonna
Type shit.
work is the pieces for that puzzle. Now you have to figure out that person who you want to be. What do they look like? What do they wear? How do they dress? How do they wake up in the morning? How do they brush their teeth? How do they take a shower? Little stuff like that. How do they think? You know, little things like that. You know what I'm saying? And then you could fill in the pieces to that puzzle. But you cannot I repeat, you cannot complete a puzzle with old pieces from a different puzzle box. It just don't work. The person you're trying to become is new. So you have to do new stuff to become that person. You can't keep on doing the old stuff. I don't know. That's just my breakdown of it. That's what I've been learning. Bro, go to the military, bro. Why I said go to the military, bro, is because I've been really leaning towards that, you know? Because
spiritually,
I'm going to the military.
right?
I mean, at this point in my life, you know.
This nigga just dropped the recruitment
My life
video.
gets better and
I thought he was gonna put me on some fucking plays or some dumbass schemes I could make fun of. He's trying to recruit me.
everything, maybe not, but I mean, the only way life is gonna get better for me is for me to go out there and make it better for myself. Ain't nobody's gonna
Military. This is why niggas who join the Navy be like, you know what I'm saying? Cause they don't even be like, cause like, isn't the Navy for the Air Force to land on? No, never mind. This dude should go to the military though.
help me.
I like
I
that
keep
for
applying
him.
to jobs, they ain't hit me up. I'm like, freak it. I'm just gonna go.
You have
I'm just gonna.
going to the military is like going to jail with a phone, bro. Oh my god. These niggas are mowing grass.
You know, focus on myself really and get my mindset right. To
I can't
whereas
afford a landscaper.
I'll be prepared to go to the military because if I get another
Nigga,
job,
fuck that shit, nigga. Go get a job, bro. Military niggas swear that shit's not fucking volunteer work, bro. Oh my
you know what
god.
I'm saying? It's just gonna be the same thing. I just have to go at it a different way. You know what I'm saying? But if I go to the military, I feel as though that builds structure. You know?
Nigga, if I go to
And
the
when I say
military, bro,
I'm talking
I'm
about the Air Force. I'm not talking about the Army, the Marines, any of that. You know, I don't want to be front
Is this
line.
nigga going
You know,
to
I'm my
the
mom's only
Navy?
son. I don't want to, you know what I'm saying, for her to lose me. So it's like, that's why I go so hard every day. But I would join the Air Force definitely to probably security forces, basically like a police officer in the military. But yeah, I just hope this helped you out. However, like what you plan on doing and everything. Hopefully I gave you a little insight.
He's already
Just a little
wrapping up the
motivation,
video
tackle
in a
what you're trying to
5-minute
tackle.
video at
And,
4
I just
minutes.
dreamer mentality is to
Okay, bro.
Minecraft.
Of different blocks that fade into each other. So you have the pulse at the center and then sulfur on the edges and then cinnabar. So it's a very unique environment.
With the new sulfur
Minecraft update. Is there really a Minecraft update? Minecraft update. Is there really a Minecraft update?
Now it's time.
Congratulations, you're a trillionaire. The richest person to ever live. You are worth more than 4 Jeff Bezoses combined. If you spent $1 million every single day, you wouldn't go broke for another 2,700 years. The world is in the palm of your hand. But there's a problem. Everyone knows. You are now the most famous person on Earth. Your face is on every screen in every country on the planet. There are people outside your building right now, hundreds of them, some with cameras, some with signs, some just standing there staring up at your window. This makes you paranoid, but you're a trillionaire, so there's an easy fix. You hire a bodyguard. Nope, not enough. 2 bodyguards. Not even close. You get a full detail, 12 operators minimum, armed, trained, rotating 24-hour shifts, the kind of protection usually reserved for sitting presidents. You make some calls. Within 48 hours, it's all done. Good. You're safe. But your Honda Civic isn't going to cut it anymore. So you buy Bugatti. Not a Bugatti. Bugatti. The entire company. $2 billion. That's 0.2% of your net worth. The equivalent of someone making $100,000 a
Net
year
liquidity.
buying a
Net liquidity.
jacket. Your accountant logs it as a rounding error.
I don't do Top Step.
But you still need somewhere to live. Your current apartment building is swarming with paparazzi outside. Basically, the entire world knows where you live. So, you buy a compound. 14 acres behind walls and iron gates. A guardhouse at the entrance manned around the clock. The property has its own private road. You
How long would it take to do this, but like with a moat?
can't even see the main house from the gate. $200 million. Easy.
That's just not true. Like, I don't even see the fucking house.
But a place that size doesn't run itself. You
In California.
need staff. Housekeepers, groundskeepers, 2 private chefs on rotation, a property manager,
Whoa. What are the eyes?
a house manager, drivers, an entire maintenance crew, IT staff just for the security systems, a personal assistant who has her own personal assistant. Within a month, 63 people work at your house. Now you're comfortable, secure. Everything runs like a machine. So you can really start spending. Because, well, you have $1 trillion and you're a little bored. You buy a Boeing 747 and have it gutted and rebuilt into a private flying residence. $400 million. You buy an island in the South Pacific. You commission the largest private yacht ever built. Helicopter pad, submarine bay, movie theater, full medical facility. $600 million. And
Nigga.
nobody warns you about this part. $1 trillion makes money
You
faster
put the
than you can
comma
spend
in
it.
the wrong
And even
spot.
sitting in the most boring investments on earth, your net worth grows by tens of millions every single day. You wake up richer than when you fell asleep every morning without lifting a finger. So money is handled. Security is handled. The cars, the properties, the staff, all handled. But you want coffee. Just coffee. From the place you've been going to for years. Your security team needs 45 minutes of advance notice. When you finally get through all the paparazzi and walk in, every person in the coffee shop has stopped talking. The barista's hands are shaking. Someone in the corner is filming you from behind a laptop screen. You get your coffee. It tastes exactly the same. But everything around is different. So you stop going there. You don't want to be a nuisance. But there's good you can do with this money. Real good. So you write a check for $500 million to disaster relief. The media covers it for about half a news cycle. Because relative to what you have, $500 million is what you earn in a slow week. People are grateful for about a day. Then they want more. They always want more. But it's not the strangers that get to you. It's the people you already know. Your phone rings constantly, but none of the calls are from friends anymore. They're from lawyers, wealth managers, heads of state, charity directors. Everyone wants a meeting. Everyone wants your name on their thing, your signature on their check. The friends from before start to disappear. Some just stop calling. The ones who still do sound different, careful, measured, like they're weighing each word before it leaves their mouth. You invite your college roommate to the compound for a weekend. He says yes before you finish asking. When he gets there, he compliments everything. The house, the grounds, the wine, the guest room. He agrees with everything you say for 2 straight days. He laughs at jokes that aren't funny, and he never pushes back on a single thing. He used to argue with you about everything. Movies, politics, where to eat. That was the whole friendship. But that friendship is about to be the least of your worries, because then the lawsuits start. Not 1 lawsuit, not 2, 17 in the first 6 months. An old business partner claims you shorted him on a deal from 9 years ago. A woman in Arizona says you verbally promised her $10 million at a fundraiser in 2019. You have never been to Arizona. Most of it is garbage. Your legal team tells you that. They say the word frivolous so often it stops sounding like a word. But each one costs 6 figures to fight. Each one puts your name in a headline. Each one requires a deposition or a filing or a statement or some kind of settlement. Your lawyers tell you to get used to it. When you have $1 trillion, people will try to take it from you using every tool available. The legal system is a tool, and you are the deepest pocket on earth. You settle 3 of the cases, not because they have merit, because fighting them in public costs more than writing the check. $1 million here, $2 million there, they're just rounding errors. But every settlement gets reported, and every report invites 5 more lawsuits. Your legal budget for the year crosses $40 million. You have an entire floor of a law firm working exclusively on your cases. You have never met most of the lawyers. They send you summaries, weekly, pages and pages of people who want your money and are willing to lie in a courtroom to get it. But daily life goes on, or something that looks like it. And then it happens. You meet her. She's sharp, funny in a way that catches you off guard.
And she
doesn't
takes
mention the money once.
half of it.
You see her again and again. 3 weeks in, it starts to feel like something real. Then you notice things. She mentions your island in a conversation you never had with her. She knows your pilot's first name. She knows which car you prefer for the city. Small things. Things that mean she looked you up before you ever met. Which, of course, she did. Everyone does. But now there's a question sitting behind every moment with her. Does she like you, or does she like this? The compound, the jet, the access to a life she'd never touch otherwise. And once that question gets in your head, it stays. You watch her differently. So you stop calling. Then she texts you twice. And then she stops. But the story doesn't end there. 2 weeks later, a tabloid runs a piece. Inside the trillionaire's secret romance. Photos of you at the restaurant. Photos of her leaving your compound. A quote from a source close to the couple. You didn't sell it. She didn't sell it. Someone at the restaurant did. A waiter or a valet. Someone who saw you together and picked
her.
up the phone. Now,
It's her.
Now her name is everywhere. Her face, her job, her apartment building. Strangers are sending her messages. Some are threatening. She had a life before you. A private, normal, anonymous life. And you erased it just by sitting across from her at dinner. Your PR team drafts a statement. Your lawyers send a cease and desist to the tabloid. None of it puts her name back in the box. You send her a message, an apology. She reads it. She doesn't respond. But the leaks keep coming, and the next one is worse. Somebody from your past sells a story to a magazine, a joke you made at a party in 2011 that, stripped of context and printed
It does
in a
not work
headline,
like that.
makes
Doesn't work like that.
you look like a different person. It's
Whoa, what was that? What are these pictures? Oh.
everywhere within 48 hours. People who have never met you now have an opinion about who you are based on something you said in a dorm room 15 years ago.
Allegedly.
Your crisis PR team goes into action. They tell you the same thing they always tell you. Don't respond. Responding makes it worse every time. So you sit in your office behind your 7 screens and watch someone sell your old life for what your team estimates was about $250,000, $250,000. That's what your past is worth to someone who used to be your friend. You can't call them, you can't confront them, you can't even confirm you know who did it, because that becomes a story too. You just sit there. Your mother calls on a Sunday morning. She sounds the same as she always does. Asks if you're eating enough, tells you about a bird that keeps getting into her garden. For 10 minutes, your shoulders drop and your jaw unclenches and you almost forget what your life has become. Then she mentions your brother. He didn't ask her to call. He never would. But he's behind on the mortgage and his car needs work, and you have more money than some countries, and he's family. You had no idea he was struggling. You sent him a few $1 million that afternoon. He doesn't call to say thank you. 3 months later, at a holiday dinner you flew the whole family to on your 747, he sits at the far end of the table. He talks to your cousins, your aunt, anyone but you. When you try to catch his eye, he stares at his plate. He leaves before dessert, and he doesn't say goodbye. A week after the dinner, your mom calls again. Different tone this time. Quiet. She tells you your brother said something to your cousin. That you ruined the family. That everything changed when the money came. Your mother isn't telling you this to take sides. She's telling you because she doesn't know what to do. She has a security detail she didn't ask for, a son who won't talk to his brother, and a family that used to fit around a kitchen table and now needs a catering staff and a 747 to be in the same room. You tell her you'll talk to him. You don't. What would you say?
This how niggas be LARPing in Miami, bro. They be LARPing just to, like, not talk to family.
You can't unsend the money. You can't undo the jet. You can't walk into his house without 2 armed men waiting in the driveway. The gap between your lives isn't something you can close with a conversation. So, you stop trying. But the compound keeps running. The 63 workers keep the machine humming. You start to take comfort in the routine of the staff. Then your head of security calls another meeting. Someone on your household staff has been feeding information to a tabloid. Nothing dangerous, but consistent and paid. Your team found the leak through metadata on a photo that ran in a gossip column. The angle matched a specific window in the East Wing. Only 3 staff members have access to that hallway. They narrowed it down in 2 days. It's Linda, the housekeeper. She's escorted off the property on a Wednesday morning. Your security team handles it. You watch from the 2nd floor window. She's carrying a cardboard box. She doesn't.
That's all she got?
Look up. A man in a suit walks her to the gate. Another
Is
man
that the
opens
chef?
it. She gets into a car that's been called
Is
for
that
her,
the
and
chef?
the gate closes. You stand at the window for a while after she's gone. The East Wing hallway is empty. Your team hires her replacement by Friday. But there's always something next. Tuesday afternoon, you take the yacht out. The ocean is so blue it looks fake. Sunset turns everything gold. Dinner is pan-seared Dover sole prepared by a chef who trained for a decade in Michelin-starred kitchens. The table is set for 1. You get back to the compound and go to bed early. The master suite is much bigger than your old apartment. You lie there. The ceiling.
I would have to get like Navy Sea. No, they would turn, bro. Like, they're too close. I gotta be locked in with one before.
Is very white. Somewhere around 3 a.m., you're awake. You get up. The compound is dead silent. The theater room empty. 60 seats. The screen is dark. The library empty. You walk the main hallway. The only sound is a faint mechanical hum. The security camera at the end of the corridor, adjusting, tracking your movement. You stop, it stops. You take a step, it follows. You go outside. The grass is wet. It's cold under your feet. You walk to the middle of the lawn. The sky is the same sky you used to look at when you were broke. Same stars, same depth, same silence. You used to lie on the roof deck of your old apartment building and stare at it for hours. The rent was late, and you didn't care. The stars haven't moved. Everything underneath them has. You stand on the lawn until the cold gets into your bones, and then you go inside. You go back to bed. After a week in Italy, you arrive back home. Your assistant meets you on the tarmac. She asks how the trip was. Great, you tell her. Now, back to the compound, through the gate, past the guardhouse, past the pool you've used 3 times, past the tennis court you've never touched, past the wine cellar with bottles that cost more than most people's monthly rent, into your office where 7 screens display your portfolio, your companies, your calendar, and a news ticker that mentions your name twice in the first 30 seconds. You sit down. Outside, security does a shift change. New faces replace the old ones. The groundskeeper rides the mower across the lawn. Over 60 people work here. You are the only one who lives here.
Okay. That's 60 people with jobs. What the fuck is wrong with this dude? Exactly. My steak is too juicy and my lobster's too buttery. Video. Like, what the fuck? What the fuck? My caviar's my wine's too refined. My caviar's too tasty and my Bugatti's too shiny. I think you waxed off the factory finish. I'm gonna have to bill you your manager. Nigga, you're always the loneliest person in the room if you're the only nigga in the room. Staff gonna catch him in the corridor outside. Oh yeah, we did not need this, bro.
In 2011,
we did not need this, gang.
In a headline,
you just made this joke right now.
Look like a different person. It's everywhere.
My guy.
People who have never met
you. He didn't even draw the towers. He just like used the picture. This dude be bugging. Too soon, bro. Too soon. Too soon.
You just graduated with a degree in international logistics. You speak.
It is too soon.
3 languages: English, Russian, and French. And you're great with boring details everyone else ignores. You land a job at a medium-sized logistics firm in a port city. This is just the beginning. You aren't a villain. Not yet. You're a guy with a spreadsheet and a very specific talent. Getting things from point A to point B when point B is a place nobody wants to go. It starts with legitimate cargo. Rice to Sudan, medical supplies to Somalia, construction equipment to Syria. You learn the real game isn't about the cargo. It's about the paperwork. But the real shift happens 3 years in. You're at a bar in a hotel lobby in Dubai. A man sits down.
This is exactly what allegedly happened to me, bro.
He looks proper and
in
rich.
Dubai, allegedly.
I have a client, he says. He needs farming tools
maybe
delivered to a rebel group in the Congo. He explains the situation. The government has blocked the roads. The only way in is by air, on a terrifyingly short dirt runway. He doesn't need a soldier. He needs a logistics manager. The payout is 5 times your annual salary. Cash, up front. You save the day, which means you just violated international laws. You leave your firm and go freelance. The work is exhausting. You set up shell companies in places that ask 0 questions. These aren't businesses. They're basically mailboxes in Panama and Cyprus. You learn the most important acronym in your life, EUC, End User Certificate. This piece of paper is the golden ticket. It tells the exporting government that the 5,000 AK-47s you are buying are for the National Police Force of Nigeria. With a little bit of this and a little bit of that, maybe a bribe to a general here and there, you get the legit stamp on the EUC. Once the plane takes off, nobody checks if the guns actually land in Nigeria. Maybe the plane has engine trouble and diverts to Sierra Leone. You stop renting space on other people's planes. You buy your own. You find an old plane sitting in a warehouse in Eastern Europe. It costs you $40,000. It's worth 10 times that if it can start working
Nigga
for
thinks they
you.
can't track
You hire
the
a
damn
crew.
plane.
The pilot is a man named Sergey who drinks vodka for breakfast. He doesn't speak English, but he can land a plane on a dirt road in the pitch black. Now you control the entire supply chain. You take a contract for a private security firm in one country. You claim you're transporting humanitarian aid, blankets, and tents. The crates are actually full of missiles and ammunition. You fly at night to avoid radar. You fly low, skimming the tops of the trees. It's terrifying. One mistake, one clipped wing, and you are a fireball in the jungle. You land on a strip of grass. This is the handoff. Men with machetes and red berets surround the plane. They don't look like security guards. They look like a militia. You don't get out of the plane. You stand in the open cargo door. The smell of burning trash and jungle rot is overwhelming. A man in sunglasses walks up the ramp. It's 3 a.m., but he wears sunglasses. He doesn't have a bank account. He hands you a duffel bag. You open it. It isn't cash. It's gold dust. Heavy, yellow packets of gold dust mined by prisoners of war. You weigh it on a handheld scale. It checks out. You signal your crew. They kick the crates down the ramp. Go, 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 you scream. You have to take off before the sun comes up. You realize that you are not just a delivery driver anymore. You are the only reason these wars can happen. It feels powerful. It feels intoxicating. You start taking riskier jobs. You move radar systems to the Middle East labeled as medical scanning equipment. You move disassembled helicopters to South America labeled as spare auto parts. You bribe customs officials with Rolex watches. You learn that every official has a price. For a junior officer, it's $500. For a port director, it's a tuition payment for his son's college in America. You pay it gladly. It's just a cost of doing business. You make the cargo dance. It zips from a stockpile in one country to a warehouse in another. Then
This dude just
vanishes
made a
into the
terrible
jungle.
joke
For
last
years, your
video.
life is long. Grueling campaigns across unforgiving terrain, spending weeks sleeping in weird places, getting your cargo where it needs to go. You eat canned tuna and stale bread while sitting on a crate of landmines. You meet your buyers. They aren't monsters like in the movies. They are often charismatic men who quote philosophy while their child soldiers load your crates onto trucks. You are the magician, they tell you. You bring the rain. You discover that fear is more effective than firepower. Sometimes, just the rumor that a shipment of weapons is arriving is enough to make a government army retreat. You feel the adrenaline. It's better than the money. You are so good at this that you stop dealing in small arms. Rifles are small fish. You want the big stuff. Attack helicopters, surface-to-air missiles, tanks. A tank is hard to hide, but heavy industrial bulldozers? Well, those are easy. You are the key infrastructure piece for conflicts you couldn't find on a map 2 years ago. You live a life you've only seen in movies.
Type of tank.
You buy a penthouse in Monaco. You buy a watch that costs more than your father's house. You have a go bag under your bed with $500,000 in diamonds and 4 passports. When you aren't flying, you are managing your network. You are responsible for ensuring pilots get paid, bribes are distributed, and silence is maintained. Your clients expect results, and any failure to deliver could mean your plane gets shot down on approach. But battles are chaotic and brutal. Imagine standing on a tarmac while mortar shells land 300 yards away, screaming at a pilot to kill the engines because the warlord hasn't brought the diamonds yet. It's dangerous, and there's no room for hesitation. You tell yourself you didn't choose the violence. You just provided the tools. It's all perfectly moral. If they wanted to kill each other with rocks, they would. You just made it more efficient. The end starts small. A shipment gets flagged. Then you get caught. Not by the police, by someone scarier. A meeting is set, not in a diner, but in a quiet room in an embassy in Vienna. The man across from you doesn't look like a criminal. He looks like a professor. He works for the CIA. We know all about your flights to Yemen, the man says. We can make that file go away. You are trapped. You're wasting your time with the rebels, he tells you. We need you to supply our rebels. Politics play a part. Governments can't be seen sending missiles to an insurgency. They need a middleman. They need you. You become an expert in state-sanctioned smuggling. The Pentagon wires money to your shell company in Delaware. That company buys old Soviet weapons from a stockpile in Albania. Your planes fly the weapons to a training exercise in Jordan, where they accidentally fall off the truck and cross the border into a war zone. You just committed a felony, but this time the CIA paid you to do it. Unfortunately, you're now a prisoner. The paranoia is nonstop. You check your car for a bomb every morning. You change your burner phone every week. You never sit with your back to the door. Is it the Russians? Is it the Americans trying to tie up loose ends? Or is it a competitor? Every night brings nightmares. Faces of people you've armed, voices begging for mercy. You drink heavily, but alcohol doesn't wash away the memories. Years of stress take a toll on you. One day, you miscalculate. You sell to the wrong side. It's a crack in the wall. We need to talk, the text says. The landscape is changing, your CIA handler says. The peace treaty is being signed next week. You're a very, very expensive loose end. A new administration has taken control of the CIA. They want to look tough on crime. They need a trophy. They need a merchant of death to parade in front of the cameras. You're the biggest liability of all. You're the only one who can connect the government to the guns. You're at an airport in Thailand. Suddenly, they're screaming. Men in black tactical gear swarm the lobby. The crowd parts. You are slammed to the ground. Confusion makes it hard to distinguish friend from foe. Are these assassins or police? They drag you into an interrogation room, but they don't want a confession. They want silence. Word spreads that the merchant of death has fallen. The crowd that watches on the news cheers your arrest. You feel sick. The news anchors call you a monster. They say you fueled genocides. They don't mention that the governments arresting you were your biggest clients.
Is he about to get traded for Brittany Griner?
For the last decade. But for
or Lonzo Ball?
Many like you, this is how it ends. Not in a blaze of glory, but in silence. You retire.
Is this not... This isn't just about the Merchant of Death? Allegedly?
To a cell the size of your old bathroom. Most operators are relocated far from civilization or locked away in supermax prisons to prevent their dark knowledge from spreading. You spend weeks staring at the walls. You'd kill to be back in that cubicle in your first port city. You've paid your debt to a world that needed someone to do its dirty work. But at least it's over for you. The nightmares stop. The paranoia ends. You were just a number for the war machine. If you're lucky, you will be traded in a prisoner swap 10 years from now. But you probably won't be lucky. A life lived for the wars of others. This is the true cost of business.
Bro, that video has a terrible joke.
You are 17 years old, and you are sitting in AP Computer Science in a suburb of Seattle.
Bro.
And the teacher is explaining something you already know.
If you guys have been watching my channel for...
This nigga's... Bro. This sounds like that shit where she was like, you make 10K in a week, I do that in 7 days. That's what this is.
A decent amount of time now. You would know that
He's
less
lying.
than a year ago, I was making $19 an hour. Now, today, as of a few weeks ago, I signed a job offer that pays right around $120,000 a year. And before anyone watches this video
haven't made
and
it
thinks
yet.
I'm going to tell you guys how to get rich quick and give you guys random BS stories, I want to start with a little bit of context because that's definitely not what this video is going to be. First, I know this kind of jump is
Bro, this
extremely
dude's
difficult, and it's
lying.
definitely not something that everyone can easily replicate. Everyone's career path is different, every industry works a little differently, and truthfully, in my opinion, timing and luck play a huge role into almost everyone's success story, whether people are willing to admit it or not. So this video isn't meant to be some type of blueprint where if you follow these steps,
Not the pin of shame. I don't know.
Over the past year, things have gotten weird. Household debt has hit a record high, inflation keeps climbing, the job market's tanking, and now we seem to be on the brink of World War III. But right in the middle of all of that, there's a cartoon Peanut pulling some of the biggest streaming numbers the internet has ever seen.
He averages like 50 on Twitch and like 80 on YouTube. He's bigger than Kai.
Now, the strange part is, the worse things seem to get, the bigger the burnt peanut becomes. Okay, so we're gonna get a little finance heavy for a second here, but stick with me. A recession is what happens when the economy takes a serious nosedive and stays down. And when that happens, people change. What they buy changes, what they watch changes, their behavior in general can hit a total 180. There's a theory called the lipstick index. It suggests that when money gets tight, people stop buying designer purses, but they'll still grab a nice bottle of lipstick. It's small, it's affordable, and for a moment, it makes you feel like things are normal. So why does that matter here? Well, because the burnt peanut is kind of like the lipstick. Not as some cheaper version of anything, but as something people turn to when everything else starts to become exhausting.
I honestly think that the burnt peanut has brought to Twitch something it's never had.
There was a hole in streaming that no one really recognized. Well, except for Peanut.
My whole life has been changed when I found this stupid little peanut.
Almost overnight,
That's
this
an
cult-like
ad.
following had formed.
You love him, I love him.
Peanut realized something about gaming,
Video games are not supposed to be you're sweating your off. If you're not having fun, get off.
and decided he wanted to fix it.
I've never had more fun in a video game than Halo 3 multiplayer.
Or else.
If you are living paycheck to paycheck, don't worry, you're not alone.
Throughout the 2010s, the job market got more competitive. Social media had everyone comparing themselves to people they'd never even met. Hustle culture showed up and swallowed everything whole. And now that one place that
Gary Vee
used to
did
ask
that?
nothing of you, the place you went to specifically to turn your brain off, was asking you to perform too.
Why do I only play Zero Because I don't have to sweat my absolute balls off.
But here's the thing, it didn't just change how people played, it changed what they watched too. High-skill gameplay became the content. The crazier the clip, the more it blew up. Now, when Peanut first started streaming in early 2022, that was still the blueprint. Be good at the game, and people will tune in.
When I first started streaming, I copied everyone else. I was like, okay, what these guys are doing, first off, they're being the best.
At the time, he was still known online as the Burnt Peanut, but the character didn't exist yet. He was still trying to copy the guys at the top. With the face cam on, gameplay front and center, focused on being good at the game. On paper, he was doing everything right, but it didn't work. And honestly, the fact that it didn't is really what makes his story interesting, because it forced Peanut to get creative. By early 2024, Peanut had been at it long enough to know that the playbook wasn't going to work for him. So he threw the whole thing out and started over. Peanut wanted to stand out. And instead of chasing what everyone else was doing, he decided to make his own thing entirely. Facecams have been the default for years, but Peanut realized there's something about an animated character that just hits a little different. Think of like Baby Yoda. Characters like that have a certain kind of universal appeal that a webcam just can't compete with. So he taught himself Blender, built a character from scratch, a Peanut, fully 3D rigged to track his face in real time.
Did you already have the tech available to even do that?
No, I learned everything on hand as I went. Blender, like I learned all by myself. I tell you, oh my God, Blender has pissed me off so much. I'll sit there and I have that fire hat that has fire on the top. That should be like 8 hours. 8 hours of sitting there and just trying to work how fire worked. I almost punched a hole in my wall. But after 8 hours, you figure it out and then you can use it forever.
The Peanut became the face of the whole operation. But here's what made it work. You could still see his actual eyes and mouth. It gave him a way to show genuine personality that most VTuber avatars just don't have.
Let me see if I can lure him in. Like a moth to a flame.
Peanut's goal with this new direction went beyond just the character. He stopped trying to be the best player in the lobby.
What?
Gotcha!
The goal wasn't to impress people anymore. It was to have fun.
I go, yeah, yeah, yeah!
All right, next guy up, come get it!
To bring back that feeling games used to have before everything got so competitive.
Back in the day, you would sit down on your couch, you'd play Halo 3. You and your brother, you'd be, calling each other fat, and you'd beating the shit out of each other in the game. That's what I try to bring back. I want my bungalovers to sit there and feel like I'm on the couch with them, and we're just having fun. Like, we're just hanging out. Like, they're my boys. And I just think it's more fun that way. That's what I would want to watch.
Yeah.
That's why I do what I do.
When he first rolled out this new character in January of 2024, he averaged just 6 viewers. 6. And nothing really changed overnight, but he kept going. He stuck to his schedule, refined the character, creating new outfits and virtual sets, basically building out the world around the Peanut piece by piece. And slowly people started to show up.
Every day I'd hop on and there'd be more bungalovers. I'd hop on the next day, there'd be more bungalovers.
By the end of 2024, he was averaging nearly 1,200 viewers a stream, which on its own is already a massive jump. But compared to what was about to happen, it was nothing.
You haven't heard of the Burnt Peanut yet?
What's Burnt Peanut? Burnt Peanut?
There's a streamer named The Burnt Peanut who has been everywhere lately.
You know The Burnt Peanut?
The Burnt Peanut.
The Burnt Peanut.
Who's my favorite streamer right now? The Burnt Peanut.
Burnt Peanut is a problem.
The Burnt Peanut is a name that I am hearing constantly.
I honestly think that the Burnt Peanut has brought to Twitch something it's never had.
I can't help not to watch the Burnt Peanut. He's all over my feed.
Most popular streamer currently in the world.
The Burnt Peanut. Literal peanut, with a face.
There's right now a guy named the Burnt Peanut. He's dressed like a peanut, he looks like a peanut, he have more voice than CNN.
So how does that happen? It was really a few things coming together at the right time. Let's go back to the lipstick example from earlier. The University of Michigan has been running a survey for decades that measures how optimistic consumers feel about their personal finances and the broader economy. The scale runs from 50 to 100. 100 means life is good, money's flowing, we're buying the designer bags. 50 means the opposite. No extra cash, tough times, the lipstick side of the spectrum. In early 2025, that consumer index sat at 71.7. Not amazing, but decent. Then it started dropping.
So the University of Michigan takes America's pulse on how they feel the economy is going every month, and the initial reading for November is not good at all.
By November 2025, it had fallen all the way down to 51.0. Your average American was staring down damn near rock bottom conditions. Now, lay Peanut's average viewership over that same timeline. Month by month, you'll notice something. In November, the exact month the consumer index bottoms out, Peanut's viewership hits an all-time high. And I really think the state of the world plays a massive role in that spike. I'll speak for myself here, but it feels like recently I can work harder than I ever have and still feel like I'm falling a step behind. I mean, my rent keeps going up, groceries keep going up, insurance keeps going up. Everything's more expensive. Every major game right now is practically unplayable unless you spend countless hours actually grinding it. Gaming as a whole has felt pretty stale for a minute now. Which is where the next piece of the puzzle comes in. Arkwriters released in October of 2025 and did it in a big way.
This is too much glaze. Yeah, this is such glaze, bro. Why does he need them to check DMs to make a video? What the fuck?
If you count the past 2 years,
What
I've
is
been
that?
unemployed for an entire year. And I've
does
been
that
single for 6 years. And I spend about 6 out of 7 days a week completely alone. Looking around at my life, I'm like, am I a loser? Now, loserdom is pretty subjective. Loserdom? Loserhood? By my own standards that I set for myself, it feels
hell
that way.
No.
Go look at your paycheck. It's not at least 100 grand a month. You got work to do.
Lopping.
We have seen the future, and it is.
Why would it be 1.2 million a year? What the fuck?
LARP.
Short for live action roleplay, this is not a new term on the internet. We have videos from 10 years ago called LARPing saved my life, which no it didn't. But before TikTok absolutely hijacked this word, it was used in reference to medieval roleplay. And to explain the original meaning even more, it's just a bunch of, I would say, the coolest people on earth, all committed to a medieval war storyline.
All right, boys, tear the flesh off that bone!
And then they all have names like Shadowfang, the Omen of Death, and it'd be a 42-year-old accountant named Greg. And there's real business behind the OG LARPing. Right? People would spend 300 doubloons on a LARPing sword, which might sound crazy, but people be paying money to LARP right now. Saving up for 6 months to go to Miami and take pictures for the gram is arguably worse than spending $300 on a LARP sword. And the reason I call these people the coolest people on earth is because they don't LARP for the validation of others. They just have pure love for the game. But the modern version of LARPing mostly consists of either renting or flexing other people's things. Like in this video, this guy in the comments said rental camera, clothes, hat, watch, and car. Now, I don't know if this guy's actually renting out his whole life, but I know there's people that be financing clothes purely for the LARP. And I know there's people that also be posting images from Pinterest and other people's clips. Like, look at this guy all giddy that this video has no watermark. But is there not a sense of shame in posting somebody else's life and pretending it's yours? Like, maybe people will be impressed when they see it. You know, until they scroll and see a nigga with a 24-carat Lamborghini. But to the people that be definition, the roleplay aspect is now role-playing a rich nigga instead of a medieval dark wizard. But the term LARPing can also be used when somebody's pretending to have knowledge on some shit they just don't know about. Like there's people that just pretend to have watched the show instead of actually watching.
Leveling, we have Sung Jin-woo. That guy's my favorite. When he does all of his crazy anime stuff in the show, in the movies, like it really makes my day.
And then the same people will take part in discussions about the show, even though they know damn well they watched it in 2x speed, divided in 3 parts on a TikTok channel. And this kind is beyond annoying when uninformed people.
Nick 830 is probably not even lying.
Like there's people that just pretend to have watched the show instead of actually watching.
Leveling, we have Sung Jin-woo. That guy's my favorite. When he does all of his crazy anime stuff in the show, in the movies, like it really makes my day.
And then the same people will take part in discussions about the show, even though they know damn well they watched it in 2x speed, divided in 3 parts on a TikTok channel. And this kind is beyond annoying when uninformed people want to act informed, and then just start spreading straight misinformation. And then there's people who outwardly express the fact that they like an artist, but they haven't actually listened to the artist, and then they'll just bite the aesthetic that's associated with liking that artist.
Yo, if you could describe your outfit with a song, what would it be? Viva la vida. Viva la vida.
by cosplay.
That was a targeted example, but it can be much more generalized. Like, let's say skating. People like the skate aesthetic, but aren't willing to actually put in the effort to get good. And these are referred to as poses. Poses are an OG form of Lapa.
I've been using it for that thing Gumball said, land surfing.
Same with the term casual in sports, like somebody that watches NBA here and there, but will still act like they got the most valid takes.
If Wemby can somehow get to at least the third round of the playoffs, would it be wrong to say Wemby is already better than LeBron?
Because why are y'all trying to talk sports, bro? Like, we got bigger fish to fry, bro. Bigger fish.
There's probably way more examples of terms that are just the same thing as Lapa.
I'd be like, yeah, bro, LeBron, bro. Nah, I can't make shit up about LeBron. That shit happened. Nah, as soon as they start talking about like the bench player coming on the court, that's when I'm silent.
But if you like the aesthetic of something, why not just actually get into it instead of pretending that you have? But when people use this form of pretending to have more knowledge about something than they actually do.
I'm just curious, what's the price on that rig there?
So yeah, you're probably...
It's mostly because they're just getting into it or they want to be included in that community. But why is it not okay to not know everything about everything all the time? Can we just normalize saying I don't know again? Because when you don't and you pretend to know about some shit, it just comes off as rage bait. My current favorite video on the internet is this video of this guy asking his coworker, who's a better fighter in terms of boxing, Mike Tyson?
I was gonna rip his heart out. I'm the best ever. I'm the most brutal and vicious and most ruthless champion there's ever been.
Or Zuku Midoriya. And this nigga was talking about how he's seen his fights.
Where would you place a Zuko Midoriya?
I don't know. I would need to write this shit down. But Manny Pacquiao gotta be up there.
I still think a Zuko Midoriya is over Mike Tyson. He's just too quick.
That's great.
Just say you don't know who Zuko Midoriya is, gang. It's fine, bro. But I find that the word lopping is often confused with flexing. It's confused when lopping is simply just flexing something that's not yours, or flexing a lifestyle that you know damn well you can't keep up with, but still promote the idea that this is the daily. And this confusion is just a side effect of the way that social media just is. Some flicks with a Nobu sign out in the back, bro. It is not telling you.
Yep, that's it. LARPing is flexing unmanaged debt that you don't plan on paying back, and you're just gonna bankrupt your business.
The story of the 16-hour shift that was just eaten away. And the mindset behind lopping is a fucking domino effect. See, from the perspective of a lopper, it's like, why does everyone seem so plentiful in gold? And now you force my hand and I have to rent a Miami high-rise with the last of my savings. And easily the worst kind of lopper is the course sellers. People will lop having a get-rich-quick method, while the get-rich-quick method is them lopping. And they're selling their course by showing videos of Lambos they don't own and vacations they got from other niggas' videos.
I promise, like, and even it's been a weird these past few months.
And this is a genuine method people were trying to make money. This is nicknamed the TJR method, and all because people believe this trading guy TJR isn't legit and that he lopped himself a Conan Seg, which is a $3 million car, by the way. But in my opinion, though, I'll just say this is people hating. But there's this idea, which for the most part I think is a joke, but knowing the internet, you just never really know. And it's this idea that lopping is like a form of manifestation. The idea is that in order to become rich, you first have to pretend to be rich. And it's followed up with arguments like this. To sleep, you first have to act like you're asleep. Therefore, lopping is the key to life.
But it's not relevant, is it?
But there's a niche group of people that don't hate on lopping, but straight up promote it. I saw this TikTok from this guy, Ben Carr, a 10-minute video on how to lop. I have multiple extensive PowerPoint slides on each of the methods.
I watched that. I just spark noted it.
And I'll give it to bro, because this shit is revolutionary. Just peep the tech of using screenshots from videos instead of direct images from Pinterest. Reverse image search was a lopper's worst nightmare. This nigga really changed the game. But I'm not gonna sit here and act like lopping is not just human nature. At the end of the day, we all, yes, we all.
Also, this guy named Chris he's from Vancouver, Canada.
We all somewhat care about other people's opinions. Drop that nonchalant shit 2026, it's going on a mug. But especially when it comes to posting online, I will never believe that I post for myself logic. Because when you think about it, it doesn't make any sense. Give me even one reason that shit did not remain in your camera roll then. But the main reason behind posting something personal has almost always been external validation. And in no universe am I trying to say this like it's wrong or a bad thing. It can be as simple as I like this photo, I'ma share it, and I hope other people like it. This can include a whole bunch of other things too, like a photo of a sunset. Nobody gives a fuck about your sunset, bro. It should have stayed in the camera roll if you wanted to post it for yourself. But still, sharing it because you think it's cool and maybe other people will like the photo too, that is a valid reason for posting that sunset. Lopping is just an attempt to speedrun the most amount of validation, and the only times it's not is when it's done as a growth method, you know, the lop your way to the top idea. And then there's people like J. Cole, who people say lops being humble. You know, maybe he's not lopping being humble, but someone explained to me why this multi-millionaire is driving around in a beat-up Honda Civic. The way some celebrities try to be relatable is so cringe because it's pure lop. This clip of Rocky lopping watching streamers.
Then y'all got the youngsters like, you know, show speed, taking it to a whole nother level. And Kasana, he's still doing podcasting?
Nigga, who the hell is Show Speed? And then the Michael B. Jordan
Naruto
incident.
What do you think Michael B. Jordan's favorite anime is? It's a good question. Favorite anime is Naruto Shippuden. Naruto Shippuden. Naruto Shippuden. Been a fan of it for years, since I was like maybe 12, 13 years old. Been a fan of it. It's a good question. Favorite anime is Naruto Shippuden. Naruto Shippuden. Naruto Shippuden. Been a fan of it for years, since I was like maybe 12, 13 years old.
I'm done, bro. Eat this outro.
Yeah, I gotta find that. Bro.
He was running for my taco.
I'm rushing. It's still good. Did I send? Oh, I did not. I did not send no. Bro, having streaks is the only thing AI can't replace, bro. And I just...
I'm doing that
wish
right
it
now.
could.
Too many to count. So just to clarify...
Okay, I gotta look it up.
What do you think Michael B. Jordan's favorite anime is? It's a good question. Favorite anime is Naruto Shippuden. Been a fan of it for years, since I was like maybe 12, 13 years old. I've literally seen Sasuke and Naruto grow up. At the end of it, it was pretty sad. I dropped a couple tears. What do you think Michael B.
He Sparks notes that shit, bro. Yeah, this is crazy. This LARP. The getting woman LARP niche on YouTube needs to be studied. Because they usually don't. Oh, this is a stupid take.
Grubby. Two racist girls trying to get me head. Call that Clash of Clans.
Okay.
I got $48 in my wallet. Bitch, I'm the man.
Did he say Clash of Clans?
Grubby. Two racist girls trying to get me head. Call that Clash of Clans. I got...
Yeah, this resale
I
sucks. I'm just gonna use water. Gotta keep it on.
$48 in my wallet.
Oh,
Bitch, I'm the
why did
man.
I unpause? That shit sucked. Now that shit sucked. That freestyle sucked. I would never wash my face while this dude sucks at freestyling like this in my presence. He better not freestyle in this.
I'm eating chicken
He
ketchup.
freestyles in all of these? Bet. No. Hold on. I just need to find one video, buddy. That's a good video. Oh, I gotta watch that. I need to know. I need to go. Monthly dose of good news. This sounds fun.
46 million kilograms of plastic. That's how much the ocean cleanup has removed from our ocean so far. That's roughly
the start. Oh, thank you. It's a recap.
Weight of 300
This
blue
better
whales.
not be the best
And
one.
last year, they broke another record.
Bro,
And there's
we're
much more
talking
good
about
news.
old
Guatemala
stuff.
is no longer allowing oil drilling in one of Central America's most important rainforests. The guinea worm disease is on the verge of being wiped out. And 10 European countries just committed over $11 billion to share wind power. Worm disease is on the verge
I didn't even know that was
of being wiped.
Oh, is this bad or good? This is good, but bad. I didn't know. That's
out. And 10 European countries just committed over $11 billion to share wind power. I'm Freddy, and here are plenty of good news stories that will make you smile. We are starting today with great news for one of nature's most iconic animals. Polar bears in Norway are the fattest they've been in years. For polar bears, sea ice is everything. They use it as a platform to hunt seals when they come up for air. And in one corner of the Arctic, that ice has been vanishing faster than anywhere else. Svalbard is a remote group of Norwegian islands deep in the Arctic. Between 1979 and 2014, it was losing ice more than twice as fast as any other polar bear habitat. With that much habitat loss, you would expect these bears to be getting thinner and weaker. But the truth turned out to be far more surprising. The Norwegian Polar Institute was tracking 770 adult bears between 1995 and 2019. In the late 1990s, as sea ice melting sped up, the bears did get thinner. But from around 2000 onwards, both males and females actually grew healthier and stronger. It turns out that for a species as adaptable as the polar bear, there are more ways to survive than you might think. They adapted by shifting their diet and started hunting reindeer, bird eggs and walrus. But that's not the only positive development for our planet. 10 European countries just committed over $11 billion to build a massive clean energy network across the North Sea.
Wow.
This January, countries including Germany, France and the UK signed the Hamburg Declaration. But here's what makes this different from any previous wind project. Traditionally, each wind farm connects to just one country. But this time, they are building wind farms that connect to multiple countries at once through shared cables. It's more efficient, cheaper, and requires less infrastructure. Together, they are building 100 gigawatts of offshore wind power by 2050. To put that in perspective, that's enough electricity for 143 million homes. That's more than all the households in Germany, France, and the UK combined. And the first 20 gigawatts are already being set in motion for the 2030s. The timing isn't a coincidence. Russia's invasion of Ukraine exposed how dependent Europe was on imported gas. Countries have been looking for ways to secure their own energy ever since. And if that wasn't enough, this project will create 90,000 jobs and reduce power costs by 30% over the next 15 years. The North Sea is set to become Europe's clean energy hub. Now, let's turn our attention to medicine. North Carolina just erased $6.5 billion in medical debt for 2.5 million people. Late last year, the state turned to its government healthcare program to get all 99 hospitals on board. It's called Medicaid, and it funds healthcare for low-income patients across the US. The state used it to make hospitals a simple offer. When hospitals sign up, they need to clear the debt. In return, they receive extra payments funded by the state and federal funds. Most of their debt was simply never going to be paid back anyways. So for the hospitals, it was an easy choice. And every single one signed on. But signing on came with more than just clearing the debt. Hospitals also had to change their policies permanently. They now have to offer completely free care to lower-income patients. That covers a single person earning under $30,120 a year, or a family of 4 earning under $62,400. And even the middle class qualifies for discounts of up to 75%. On top of that, medical debt can no longer be reported to credit agencies. And this is big. Medical debt on credit reports can block people from getting loans and renting apartments. The debt relief is still ongoing. Hundreds of thousands of people are receiving letters telling them their debt has been cleared, with more on the way. We've actually covered stories like this before. Arizona erased $429 million in medical debt, and LA County cleared almost $3 billion of it. But North Carolina takes it to a whole new scale. Hospitals now have to permanently cap interest rates and limit aggressive debt collection practices. They also have to automatically screen patients for financial help without them even having to ask. So this doesn't just erase the past. It changes the system to stop medical debt from building up in the first place. Let's head to Southeast Asia, where Singapore is making a change for the environment. This month, the country is launching a bottled deposit scheme. Here's how it works. When you buy a bottled or canned drink, you pay an extra 8 cents. Return the empty container to a collection point and you get your 8 cents back. The goal is to boost recycling and reduce waste. Countries like Australia and several US states already do this. So do European nations like the Netherlands and Sweden. And to be honest, as a German, I used to think that every country had this system. It's a small change, but an effective tool to reduce waste. Across the Pacific, a new study reveals that lead levels in American hair samples have dropped nearly 100 times since the 1970s. And we are also heading to Guatemala, where one of the world's most important rainforests is finally getting the protection it deserves. The guinea worm is on the verge of being wiped out. And we have an exclusive interview with the Ocean Cleanup about their record-breaking year. And now, let's get back to the study showing that lead levels in human hair have dropped by nearly 100 times since the 1970s. Researchers from the University of Utah analyzed hair samples from local families spanning over a century. The findings reveal just how toxic our environment used to be. Lead is a dangerous neurotoxin that acts like calcium in the body, getting absorbed into bones and crossing into the brain. And here's what makes it so harmful. The brain needs calcium to help neurons communicate with each other. To do that, special channels open at the tiny gap between brain cells, letting calcium flow in. That flow triggers signals for learning and memory. But lead slips into those same channels instead. Once inside, it interferes with those signals. And slowly, connections between brain cells begin to weaken and break down. The damage shows up in many ways. It causes memory loss and learning problems. And in children, it can permanently stunt brain development. For decades, lead was embedded in everyday life. It was in the gasoline powering cars, the paint on the walls of homes, and the pipes carrying drinking water. By 1970, Americans were breathing in roughly a kilo of lead per person every year. That is insane. And most of them had obviously no idea. But there was also the year everything changed. Frustration about pollution had been building for years, and the government finally acted. The EPA was established, and lead was one of its first targets. Leaded gasoline was phased out. Paint manufacturers were banned from using it, and the pipes running into homes had to meet strict new standards. Lead exposure dropped.
Dude, this shit sucks.
Old hair samples contained nearly 100 times.
Man. I want to watch Bad News now. After seeing that, Bad News could be tough.
Hey, I'm some Glarp ZB, and ever since I popped out the egg sack 1500 rotations ago, there has been one rule beaten into my brain by every authority figure I've ever known. You all know exactly what rule I'm talking about. It's the only intergalactic law that will get you executed throughout any galaxy. Even if you go to a planet that doesn't have the death penalty, they will put you in a vaporization chamber the second they find out you broke this one rule. Even before you are old enough to create matter out of thin air, you know to stay away from Earth. But most aliens don't know why they need to stay away from Earth. On many planets, if you try and ask why Earth is off limits, the only answer you'll get is why doesn't matter, just stay away. On some others, you'll be told that getting involved with Earth could lead to the complete and utter destruction of your planet and culture. Pretty ominous, right? It's not like the reason why is some forbidden knowledge that you're not allowed to talk about out loud. It's just a difference in education systems throughout the universe. There's no real reason for earthly studies to be in any standard curriculum. But naturally, these simple explanations aren't enough for a lot of aliens. Teenagers especially, the second they get their saucer license, they beeline for Earth thinking they can sneak past the planetary blockade, and they join the eternal nothingness of space. It's a waste of both extraterrestrial life and premium rides, so I've decided to share my expertise on the planet to explain why you shouldn't bother trying to invade or even abduct anything from Earth. I spent about 150 years monitoring the planet and scraping information from their rudimentary satellites for a college credit. And see, the interesting thing about the Earth is that the terrain and most of the life on the planet is not a danger to a majority of aliens. The real reason they won't let us invade Earth is the humans.
I can't go outside right now.
Now on the surface, humans don't seem like anything special, even on their own planet. They aren't particularly fast or strong, their skin is squishy and easy to puncture, they don't even produce any kind of venom. But much like many planets, humans are the dominant life form on Earth because of their intellects and their ability to communicate with one another. And you might think, oh, they're like the tall greys, where their amazing minds make up for their physical weaknesses. But honestly, humans being the top dogs on Earth says a lot more about the other life forms on that planet than it does about them. The most powerful weapon at humanity's disposal is the nuclear bomb, something my kid made for a science fair when he was 7. Believe it or not, humans actually die when they're exposed to uranium. Could you imagine that? I could not live without uranium. I put that shit on everything. Their main means of travel is still reliant on wheels. They have spacecraft, but it can barely leave the ground and often blows up before it can even reach orbit. They've had sentience for 300,000 Earth rotations, and they still kill each other over variance in the color of their skin. And after 300,000 rotations, they're only just now getting to their mandatory AI takes over and the populace needs the revolt arc that every society goes through. They're still stuck on the PS5 for fuck's sake. Humanity is primitive to say the least. On paper, the lowest ranking species in the UG, the little green men, could low diff the Earth. So why are we so set on leaving the planet alone? Well, to answer that question, we have to bust out our handy dandy multiversal browser. Now these only became available to the general public relatively recently, so I'll explain how they work real quick. You tune the device to the specific frequency of whatever universe you want to observe, and you'll have access to any data that's ever been recorded in that universe. A lot of aliens, especially those who never pursued a higher education, have the misconception that there are an infinite number of universes, and that's just simply factually not the case. There is a quantifiably finite number of universes. But there are several main universes that have displayed the concept of alternate universes within the main universe. So conceptually these are alternate universes, but we call them sub-universes because they only deviate from the main that they're attached to. Anyway, there being a finite number of universes means the multiversal browser is a pretty amazing tool. It's led to countless technological advancements because it allows us to gather information or check our research against another universe's. And it's also thanks to the multiversal browser that we know to stay away from Earth. For the purposes of today's video, we're going to start by talking about the universe designated as RK03.
If you don't have anything else to say, you need to leave.
Debbie.
Get out of my house.
You don't mean that.
Get out of my house!
We'll talk later.
The big difference between our universe and RK03 lies with the Viltrumites. In our universe, the Viltrumites are renowned for their generosity. They have free clinics on pretty much every planet, they bring advanced medical technology to lesser developed planets, they deliver food and medicine to war-torn solar systems. You'd think with how charitable they are, they're actually in favor of making contact with Earth, but no. They've been against the idea ever since a visiting Viltrumite was killed on Earth some 2026 Earth rotations ago. Regardless, the Viltrumites of RK03 are nothing like the ones of our own universe. They are, for lack of a more scientific term, planet-conquering monsters who feel nothing when they snuff out other life forms because they believe themselves superior to every other being in the universe. Obviously that's shocking to hear, but it also might be a bit confusing. The Viltrumites of our universe aren't pushovers by any means, but there's a fair amount of species ranked above them in the UG. Why wouldn't one of those species put a stop to the Viltrum empire of RK03? Well, that's because the Viltrumites in RK03 are some of the most powerful beings in the galaxy through a millennia-long eugenics program. It was less of a program and more of a purge. They just killed any baby that couldn't bench 3 plates the second they came out the womb. So the Viltrumites were an absolute terror on the universe that needed to be stopped at any cost. And the universe fought back, but they really didn't stand a chance until one of the Viltrumites made the fatal mistake of trying to conquer Earth. The Viltrumite warrior Esile On came to the planet with the intention of bringing it under Viltrum's control without much fight. He was far and away the strongest being on Earth, a fact he demonstrated when he eventually killed the mightiest heroes the planet had to offer. So how is it that in less than 25 rotations after his arrival on Earth, Naolon was fighting against the Viltrum Empire, defending not just the Earth, but the rest of the universe too? Thousands of rotations of programming and dedication to the Empire undone in less than 25. How did the humans of RK-03 turn one of the most powerful beings in the galaxy into a weapon to be used against their enemies? Oh, I'll tell you how they did it. They fucked the shit out of him. Naolon took a human mate and wound up betraying his entire species for her. And eventually it wasn't just Naolon. A lot of the remaining Viltrumites wound up turning on their leader Thrag because they eventually took human mates, which led to Naolon and his offspring managing to amass enough support to overthrow the Viltrum Empire. The worst dictatorship in the universe's history was brought down by human genitalia. Despite the fact that humanity did the universe a service here, that's still a pretty terrifying thought. Because it's not like brainwashing. We have anti-brainwashing technology. This is a complete betrayal of your homeworld, a total ideological conversion. Naturally, you see that and you have to think, what if the wrong human has sex with the wrong alien? Based on human history and what they post online, a majority of humanity is the quote-unquote wrong human. What if one of them managed to bag a celestial sapien? Now, I know what you're thinking, because my species has developed mind reading. You're thinking, some Glarp ZB, this seems like a bit of an overreaction for just one universe. And it's precisely because I predicted that line of thinking that I have several more examples. Let's talk about universe CB88. CB88 is a universe much like our own. The only real difference between the two universes is that in CB88, Bubbles Blinky never founded the Auguste Protection Alliance. I should probably elaborate on that because to the uninformed alien that sounds like a bunch of nonsense. See, there's this planet that is both scientifically and affectionately referred to as Clowntown. And the dominant species on this planet is, you guessed it, the clowns. They are not everyone's cup of tea. They're quite a smart species, ingenious inventors, but it's almost impossible to get a clown to take something seriously. They're generally seen as hooligans or delinquents because anytime a group of clowns visits another planet, the law usually has to get involved, even though the clowns usually don't have ill intentions. They just overcommit to the bit. They're a carnivorous species, and on their planet, their main food source is the Auguste. However, at one point, the Auguste became endangered due to overhunting by the clowns and poachers from other planets. But thankfully, one clown, the aforementioned Bubbles Blinky, took the threat seriously and formed an alliance with several other surrounding planets. So the interplanetary branch of the alliance was able to almost completely stop all Auguste poaching. And on the planet side of things, Bubbles Blinky worked with lawmakers and scientists to devise a much more sustainable means of keeping the population fed without decimating the Auguste population. But in CB88, this alliance was never founded, and thus the clown's main food source went extinct. I'm not going to dive into all the ramifications of that, because quite frankly, I just don't have time, but one of the ramifications was that a fair amount of clowns became poachers themselves. And they travel from planet to planet, illegally capturing wildlife to bring it back to Clowntown for food or for profit. And one such group, led by a Captain Jojo, decided to make a play for Earth. And not a single member of Captain Jojo's circus survived. Now, the clowns aren't exactly heavy hitters in the UG, they're really more of a knowledge check than anything, but their technology and near invulnerability would still mean the humans don't stand a chance. And for the most part, they didn't. According to data gleaned from scanning the wreckage of the clown's big top, the invasion went off without a hitch. They had successful's captured an Hey, I'm some Glarp ZB, and ever since I popped out the egg, overcommit to the bit. It's another planet, the law usually has to get involved. The dominant species on this planet is, you guessed it, at their main food source.
Okay, I'll just.
Stay in butt! Quit flailing around and let the others fight!
He's talking about too much anime. I'm not gonna pander. I don't watch anime, bro.
You know how the world of Fallout was destroyed by a bunch of nuclear bombs hundreds of years before the start of the games? Well,
Yes.
according to Fallout series executive producer You know how the world of Fallout was destroyed by a bunch of nuclear bombs hundreds of years before the start of the games? Well,
yes.
According to Fallout series executive producer Todd Howard, there was only one nuclear strike in the Boston metropolitan area in the hit 2014 video game Fallout 4, which is, of course, the one you see during the prologue of the game. According to most people online, though, there were actually 2 detonations in the Boston area, that main one, and then a second one near the Cambridge Institute of Technology, as evidenced by this crater. Even more confusingly, according to the game's wiki pages, quote, further detonations beyond these 2 may have also occurred. So which one is it? A lot of people have theories about this online, and it's something that's been hotly debated for pretty much every Fallout game since Fallout 3. So what I decided to do is I scoured the internet and gathered up every potential nuclear strike location that anyone anywhere mentioned online for any reason, and then I hired a researcher to scour every inch of the Fallout 4 map and write down any additional locations in the game that have even the smallest bit of evidence of a nuclear explosion. And then once we had all those locations written down, we put them onto this map, and today we're going to go through all 14 of those potential locations. We're going to look at the actual details in these environments, like craters, destroyed buildings, and snapped trees, and we're going to determine once and for all how many bombs actually hit the Commonwealth in Fallout 4. Now, I will say, despite Todd Howard only ever really talking about the one main explosion in Fallout 4, he never actually explicitly said that there couldn't be more. A lot of people just misquote him on this, so I want to clear that up. And pretty much everyone agrees that there are at least 2 effectively confirmed nuclear strike locations present in the game, so let's start there. The first one, like I said, is all the way in the bottom corner of the map, and the evidence down there is pretty overwhelming. Aside from the massive, glowing, radioactive, inhospitable crater in the middle of the area, there are also crashed aircraft, destroyed buildings, and maybe the best piece of evidence of all, the trees here are all leaned away from the center of the blast in a circular pattern, classic sign of a powerful explosion. This crater is the one that was created by the bomb that your character sees go off during the game's prologue, and it's by far the largest bomb that we have direct evidence for in any of the 3D Fallout games. But the second widely accepted nuclear explosion location in Fallout 4 is pretty big as well, and it's called Cambridge Crater. Even though it's slightly less large than the first one, I'd say it's still pretty obvious that the game is trying to signal to us that this place was, in fact, destroyed by a nuclear weapon. There's a huge hole, there's a glowing puddle of radioactive waste, there's irradiated ghouls all around. The evidence, I would say, is overwhelming. Mostly. The one weird thing is that all of the buildings immediately outside of the crater itself here are largely intact. Some of them even have their windows completely unbroken, which I think would basically be impossible if it were this close to a nuclear detonation of any size. As far as stuff like this is concerned, we're basically gonna ignore it. Fallout is a game that takes a lot of creative liberties in order to give us interesting environments to walk around in. That's part of Bethesda's job as artists and game designers, and the scale of the game is much, much smaller than in real life. It's less than 1% as big as the real-life area of Boston that it's trying to represent, so we can expect that the scale of nuclear destruction is also going to vary pretty significantly. The underlying point here is that we can mark down these 2 locations as confirmed detonations. Aside from those 2 places, though, most of the other spots we're going to look are not going to have these big, obvious signs of a nuclear explosion. So, how are we going to determine which ones did have nuclear detonations and which ones did not? For our purposes, there are really 3 strong pieces of evidence that we're looking for. Firstly, obviously, if there is a crater or some other kind of indentation in the ground, that's a pretty good piece of evidence. Secondly, the type of location it is, like if it's a military base or some sort of other valid military or infrastructural target. And then thirdly, maybe the most important, is the pattern of how things are destroyed. You remember how I said that all of the trees near the first crater were tilted away from that central point. That sort of thing is very helpful in determining what might have happened in an area. Now, the tricky thing is, not every location is going to have all three of these things, and some of them might not appear to have any of them. So there's going to be some wiggle room for interpretation, but we'll cross that bridge when we're when we come to it. You know what I mean? So we've got 12 other locations to visit on our map here, and I think from my perspective, it makes sense to start down where the main detonation occurred and then head northeast. So we'll start by heading over here, which is this old town in an area called the Quincy Ruins. This is an area that was flagged by our researcher because of the many swampy indentations in the ground, almost like this was the site of a bunch of old nuclear detonations that deformed the landscape, as well as, you know, general destruction all over the place, like these huge sections of collapsed interstate highway. The thing is, the actual town itself is in pretty good shape. A lot of the buildings are intact, there's not overwhelming radiation anywhere, and that collapsed interstate even looks more like it fell straight down rather than getting blasted in a particular direction by an explosion. Now, I do agree with my researcher that from above, that swampy mess of indentations does bear some resemblance to those horrific photographs you can see of the aftermath of World War I artillery battles, but none of the trees here in Fallout 4 are knocked down in any consistent pattern. All the vegetation looks like stuff you would expect to see in a natural swamp anyway, and there's even old infrastructure here like this dock, which implies that this area was swampy and messy even before the war. So it's probably just a swamp, or a bog. I can't remember the difference. Straight north of this location, we find a place called Big John's Salvage, and just to the north of it, we find our next stop. At first glance, this looks pretty obvious. Not only do you have this huge crater with nasty yellow water in the middle, you can check that off the list, but take a close look at the pattern of destruction that we see around it. There was a road running over this area.
I don't want to watch this anymore. I need some brain rot.
Over the past 2 years, I've been building Star Wars in Minecraft, dedicating hundreds of hours to faithful recreations of the galaxy's planets and megaships. But my beloved Venator is looking a bit small, so it's time to design its successor, the Imperial Star Destroyer. I'm going to be recreating a super accurate exterior alongside a full interior, all in our favorite block game. And immediately we have a problem, because an ISD is around 450 meters tall, taking it over the default height limit of 384. So for the first time, I'll be using a world height extended datapack, because this doesn't look as intimidating. If you want to build your own massive ship, the best place to start is a wireframe. I printed off orthographic views and took hundreds of measurements to ensure accuracy.
Okay, I just want to see it. He doesn't... Where's my tour? Oh, I have to pay. That's nice. That's nice. But if I go and get it by other means...
Back in the day, the Sims franchise wasn't just one of the biggest in gaming, it was one of the highest quality. Each release innovated on the last, with nothing but the highest of praises. But along the way, something was lost. The edges softened, and the soul of the series quietly died, buried under a mountain of low-quality, overpriced DLCs. How did this happen to one of the biggest names in gaming? What's in store for the future of The Sims, and how did the spirit of The Sims die? The story of The Sims begins all the way back in 1984, but I'm not here to waste your time, so let's get to the point. A guy named Will Wright co-founded a company in 1987 to publish his experimental game called SimCity. He saw major success with the first game, leading to a sequel in 1993. His company, Maxis, saw the potential of simulation games and went on to publish a lot of stuff that you've likely never heard of. SimEarth, SimAnt, SimLife, SimFarm, and SimTower. Oh, and SimIsle, SimHealth, SimCopter, I could keep going. All of these experimental projects weren't leading to any real successes, and Maxis started to struggle financially. But all of these random games focused on simulating various aspects of complex systems, combined with Wright's interests in reading books on architecture, urban design, and shopping behavior, would lead to his greatest idea yet. One that would go on to revolutionize the entire gaming industry. I'm sure you can guess what happened next.
The Sims 1.
Wrong. Wright excitedly pitched the idea of The Sims to a focus group in 1993. but to his surprise, they absolutely hated the idea. Within Maxis, the game received quite a few derogatory nicknames, such as the toilet game and dollhouse game. Many thought it was ridiculous that you could do meaningless tasks like cleaning bathrooms. Nobody thought it would be fun, and it definitely doesn't help that Wright originally pitched the game as a game where you're playing with a dollhouse. Higher-ups were seriously unimpressed with the comparison, which made them think that it would only appeal to girls. And as we all know, girls don't play video games. The Sims was a joke, and nobody would ever take it seriously. But while they had neglected their golden goose, Maxis' troubles had finally caught up to them. After years of constant flops and low-quality products, the company was on the verge of bankruptcy, until EA came in with a generous offer to buy the company in 1997 for $125 million. In a weird twist, EA actually saved Maxis from itself and got it under new management that knew how to do their jobs. They led the charge to turn SimCity 3000 into one of the most beloved and successful entries of the franchise, and they were even willing to listen to Will Wright about his new simulation game idea. Not because they loved the game, but because they saw the dollar signs flowing in with all the potential expansions that they could sell for it. Like this one, where you can put clothes on your cats and dogs, where you need to buy the Cats and Dogs DLC in order to actually use it. Or this one, that adds vacuums for $5. This is the current state of The Sims, and I can't wait to dive into that, but let's stick to the story here. EA greenlit The Sims, and work had officially begun on one of the most iconic gaming franchises of all time. But making a game with the goal of simulating an entire world is no small task, and there were quite a few obstacles that Wright and the team needed to figure out. First, it was clear that the game needed a degree of realism, but not so much that it became uncanny or impossible to simulate. It was also important that Sims had some autonomy, but not so much that the game could just play itself. A balance had to be found between keeping things unpredictable while still requiring the player to care for their virtual toddlers. And of course, hundreds of scenarios had to be anticipated, adding even further to the complexity of the game. For example, if a tired Sim can't access a bed because they're stuck, then they need to be able to fall asleep sitting. Or if two Sims have a conflict, they should be able to argue, apologize, or simply avoid each other depending on their personalities. All of this wasn't exactly easy, and compromises would have to be made, but by the time February 4th, 2000 rolled around, The Sims had finally released, and, well, people loved it. The game was praised for its brilliant innovation, and it sold over 11 million copies. So we got a
I'm just
little
gonna watch it later, bro. I'm not gonna do him like that, bro. I already watched that. And I'll stream later after I do schoolwork.